lines 14 through 21, which reads, going from line 12, a student, let's see, this policy is in effect if the conduct is directed specifically at a student, then you go down, and has the effect of creating a hostile educational environment for the targeted student, or otherwise creates a substantial disruption to the education environment or learning process. Hostile educational environment includes situations in which the targeted student experiences significant interference with their ability to learn, participate in school activities, or feel safe at school, as reported by the student, witnesses, or parents. Substantial disruption includes, but is not limited to, fear of attending school, declining academic performance, emotional distress requiring counseling, or increased absenteeism. The principal or designee shall document the basis for any determination that off-campus conduct does not create such an effect. So that paragraph replaces the line sentence above the going before. The next change was a change to existing text. The existing text was removed, and this was put instead. School districts shall not be responsible for actions caused by students or according to students when not on school district property or when not under school district supervision. In cases where suspicions arise that a student may be in danger or may potentially be in danger to themselves or others, the school district will alert proper authorities and cooperate with authorities where requested, especially so if the conduct has or could have the effect of creating hostile education environment or otherwise create a substantial disruption to the education environment or learning process. Next page, page 2 of 5. Here, the changes, the first change was to line 21. We added an example. Let me go from the beginning of that paragraph so it makes sense. Hazing is an intentional or reckless act by a student group of students that is directed against any other students that endangers the mental or physical health, safety, or safety of the students, or that induces or coerces a student to endanger his or her mental, physical health, or safety. The addition was example, pantsing of a student. Coaches or other employees of the school district shall not encourage, permit, condone, or tolerate hazing activities and shall, this is added, and shall immediately report any suspected hazing to the principal. That is an addition, not a change. The next change was we omitted lines 29 and 30 under complaints and investigations. Any individual who has knowledge of behaviors that may constitute a violation of this policy shall promptly report such information to the principal / designee. That was lined out and replaced with the next paragraph. Alleged victims of the above referenced offenses shall report these incidents immediately to a teacher, counselor, or building administrator. All school employees are required to report alleged violations of this policy immediately to the principal / designee. All other members of the school community, including students, parents, volunteers, and visitors, are encouraged to report any act that may be in violation of this policy. The next change was we modified or changed existing text to read lines number 4 through 11. Reports of bullying, harassment, intimidation, cyberbullying, or related incidents may also be submitted through the district's official online incident reporting tool called TipLine to the JCS app by email at contactus@jcboe.net or a phone call to your child's school. All reports received through this online tool shall be treated as formal reports under this policy. They shall be entered into the district's incident reporting system, assigned to the principal or designee, and processed using the same procedures, timelines, including the 48-hour investigation initiation and 20 calendar day completion requirements, documentation, standards, parent notifications, and investigative protocols that apply to all other reports of bullying or harassment. The next change was we omitted part of the existing text and modified it, and so this new paragraph reads, the principal designee at each school shall be responsible for investigating and resolving complaints once a report is received. The principal/designee shall initiate an investigation within 48 hours of receipt of the report. If an investigation is not initiated within 48 hours, the principal/designee must immediately notify the director of schools in writing and provide detailed, specific documentation justifying the delay, including the exact reasons, dates, and steps already taken. Such documentation shall be reviewed by the director of schools or designee within 24 hours of receipt. The next change is again a change. We omitted some of the existing text and modified it with additional text. That's lines 30 through 33. The principal designee is responsible for determining whether an alleged act constitutes a violation of this policy. In making this determination, the principal or designee shall use the following criteria and shall document in writing the specific evidence considered for each criteria. Next page 4 of 5. Modifications made to the first paragraph. I'll read the first paragraph with the way we are proposing it to read. Upon the determination of a violation, the principal/designee shall conduct a prompt, thorough, and complete investigation of each alleged incident. All investigation shall be completed and appropriate intervention taken within 20 calendar days from the receipt of the initial report. If the investigation is not complete or intervention has not taken place within 20 calendar days, the principal/designee must immediately notify the director of schools in writing and provide detailed, specific documentation justifying the delay, including the exact reasons, dates, and steps already taken. Such documentation shall be reviewed by the director of schools or designee within 24 hours of the receipt. The next change is line 20. I will read this phrase. A substantiated charge against the student may result in a corrective or disciplinary action up to and including suspension, and we added the word /expulsion. The student may appeal this decision in accordance with disciplinary policies and procedures. The next change, under reports, we added a word to line 24. When a complaint is filed alleging a violation of this policy, there is physical harm or threat of physical harm to a student or student's property. The principal/designee of each elementary, middle school, junior high school, or high school shall report the findings and any disciplinary actions taken to the director of schools or the chair of the board. That was added. And that concludes the changes made to this policy. This is our first step in re-evaluating and re-looking at our bullying policy. There are a number of accompanying policies in the policy manual, such as code of conduct, a thing that we will work on as we go forward to complete the review of our policy, but this is our first step. Now, Mr. Chairman, at the suggestion of the policy committee and Dr. Arnold, I request that the rules be suspended in order that, if this revised policy is approved, it is adopted by the board on first and final reading to be in effect for the upcoming school year.
All right, Doug has made a move to suspend the rules. Is there a second to suspend the rules in order to pass this motion? Okay. discussion on the suspension of rules? All right, all those in favor?
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Has this policy been approved by our attorney since it was changed?
They have viewed it, they didn't have any major concerns.
But, our attorney has looked at it.
And TSBA, yes. They have. Yes.
All those in favor of suspending the rules, show by raising your right hand. All right.
Now, Mr. Chairman, I would like to move that we adopt the revised policy number 6.304 on first and final reading.
All right. Since the motion comes from committee, we don't need a second. So is there any further discussion on this student discrimination, harassment, bullying, cyberbullying, intimidation, and what was it we added? Antagonistic behavior. Any discussion on that? All right. All those in favor of passing on first and final reading policy 6.304, show by raising your right hand. All right, that'd be unanimous. That passes on first and final reading.
And Mr. Chairman, I
Yes.
would like to mention that our next policy meeting will be 5 p.m., 8 on August 24th. Expect it to be a very full agenda because at this meeting we will be reviewing and evaluating all of the legislation that was passed in this last legislative session by the state. We will also, if you remember, we asked TSBA to do a policy manual review for us. They will be sending us their recommendations on the first chapter of our policy book. We have no idea how many modification recommendations they'll be sending us. And of course, we'll also have any policies on there that are submitted by board members to review. So because of that, we're starting at 5 o'clock and making it an hour and a half meeting rather than an hour meeting before our next work session. So, oh, and please, because of that, please have any of your submissions for policy review from the board to Rhonda by the end of business on Monday, August 10th.
All right, thank you for that. All right, that then takes us down to unfinished business.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the MOU.
Oh, all right. What is the motion?
I move to amend page 5, line L of the MOU document to strike out the words "to students within JCS buildings" and replace with "gender-affirming counseling or gender-affirming activities of any kind to students on JCS property."
Okay, where was that?
Page 5, line L. And it's just the last part of that. The entire sentence as it is says contractor will not provide gender-affirming care support to students within JCS buildings. I'm looking to strike out "to students within JCS buildings" and replace that with a comma, and then "gender-affirming counseling, comma, or gender-affirming activities of any kind to students on JCS property." So, here's
All right.
the top.
All right, so Dawn has made a move to amend line L, it's on page 5 of the MOU document, and strike out the words "to students within JCS buildings" and replace it with "gender-affirming counseling or gender-affirming activities of any kind to students on JCS property." contractor will not provide gender affirming care support, affirming counseling or gender affirming activities of any kind to students on JCS property. So a move to amend that. Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
what's the motion on the floor that we're amending? You can't amend a motion that's not been made yet.
Yes, you're right. I'm getting ahead.
I mean, you gotta have a motion that has passed, been passed by the board, then your next step is amendment.
Yes. So we gotta have a motion first to approve this.
I didn't vote on the motion.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting there. Okay. Hold, do you need this back? Okay. First off, as Coach pointed out, we need a motion to approve the MOUs. And there's two of them, remember? There's one for Helen Ross McNabb, and then there's one for, what's the other? Allied. I always forget them. So is there a motion then to approve those memorandums of understanding?
So moved.
All right, Doug has moved to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Paul has seconded. Now, you two, you got anything to say, Doug?
I believe there is someone on our board who'd like to amend, so I would defer after Mr. Hardy speaks to.
Now, which company did you choose? I couldn't.
They're for both of them. It's for both of them. The MOU's for both of them.
I know, are we making a motion on one of them or both of them?
Both.
Both?
Yes.
You can't have two
Parties.
I don't know where you got two things in that motion, and, I don't know, a motion can only involve one thing at a time.
Well, we can do them one time.
Well, go ahead, do what y'all got to do.
Which, Doug, do you wanna,
Yeah, I move that we approve the MOU for Helen Ross McNabb.
Thank you.
Paul, do you still second that?
I'll second that.
All right. Did you have anything you want to say, Paul?
No.
All right. Now, if you want to amend, you got to amend this one,
Okay,
if that passes.
yeah.
We didn't vote on
Whether you gotta amend it, then you would vote on the whole thing.
The
it.
amended.
No.
No,
You gotta have a motion.
The motion is to approve
We
the
didn't
MOU.
vote on it.
We don't vote on it until we have to, but
No,
because
no.
you're wanting to change something.
No. The motion has to be on the floor and
The
approved
motion
to this
is.
board, and then it can be amended.
It is on the floor.
It is on the
After a
floor.
second.
He's voting.
Well, we have to vote on it.
No, he's amending the motion that is for
We
this.
haven't voted on it. She can't amend it until it's been approved by this board. Then you can amend it.
No, we can't vote on it until it's been amended because we're voting then on an amended
We'll
motion.
go back and read the book.
We're fine.
You have to, the motion cannot be amended. So what if the board don't approve this motion?
Then
It'd be amended.
Well, how can you amend something that's not been approved by the board? You have,
I defer, Mr.
Okay,
I
here's what
defer
we'll
to
do.
parliamentary-
y'all go ahead and do what you
Here's
gotta
what
do.
we'll do. We will go through and we'll take the motion to approve.
Thank you.
Then we will go and we'll approve the other.
Oh, that's fine.
And then, if you want to amend those, we'll go through and amend the MOU, the approved MOU itself. Okay, so Doug has made the motion to approve the Helen Ross McNabb MOU. Paul has seconded it. Is there anything else? All right, all those in favor of approving the MOU for Helen Ross McNabb, show by raising your hand. MOU to approve Ellen Ross McNabb 4-2. Now, what's the next one here?
I move to approve the MOU for Allied Behavioral Health.
I'll second that. Is there any discussion on that?
I just wanted to clarify too, I know that I brought up a couple instances on, that I questioned it. The attorney had said that we would make sure that we didn't have to put it in here. We could, but we didn't have to, so it was not put in here. But that would be something that will be an administrative procedure after the fact. Right.
Yeah, we spoke about that, and, two of the things we already do, and one of them's just, to verify that they understand their role within the MOU.
But it's not in the MOU.
That's correct.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, well, we got, yes, I second. All right, all those in favor then of approving the MOU between Allied and the school system, show by raising your right hand. All right, that passes then. Now, Dawn, if you have something you want to add?
Ultimately, this is, the exact contract between Allied and McNabb, so would this, motion apply to both?
Let's just do them both one at a time.
Okay, so it's basically the same language, so, I move to amend page 5, line L of the MOU document for McNabb, to strike out the words "to students with JCS buildings" and replace with "gender affirming counseling or gender affirming activities of any kind to students on JCS property."
Okay, Dawn has moved then to amend the approved MOU to add in what we were just talking about.
Which you would you, Josh? Is this the Helen Ross?
The Helen Ross McNabb, yes.
I say,
Doug has seconded, so,
we have to read this.
yeah. So, taking line L, it will now read, she wanted to now read, contractor will not provide a gender affirming care support, gender affirming counseling, or gender affirming activities of any kind to students on JCS property. Is there any other discussion, you want to say anything on that, Dawn, since you?
Yeah, so when I was looking, I was trying to find a legal definition for gender affirming care, and I couldn't find it anywhere. What I did find was the state Tennessee Senate Bill number 1, it's SB 1, HB 1, and I did bring a couple of copies to pass around for everyone else to take a look at this for themselves. So, on page 5 of this document, on page 5 of this document, I have highlighted the bottom paragraph where it says this chapter does not prohibit or restrict psychological practice, the practice of professional counseling, or the practice of social work. So basically, the counseling part of it is not covered under this law, but the surgical procedures and the gender altering drugs are, they're protected, from that. So, so basically, what that tells me is that the responsibility for that element lies on each individual school district across the state to either include it or not include it, because it's not prohibited in this particular law.
Doug, you second?
Yeah, I did not know that, so, I thought that what that said included counseling and everything else, so, I'm happy with my second, because it just says what I thought this said to begin with, which it really did, so, I'm still for it.
Any other discussion on this change. Yes, sir.
Could you just run that by me one more time? Because does gender affirming care support not include all of that already?
I checked like crazy looking for some sort of legislation. This was the only thing that I found. And I have other parts in here that are also highlighted, that says that, I mean, as an example, it said it's not a violation of this subsection on page 3, okay? If a healthcare provider knowingly performs or offers to perform a medical procedure on, or administers or offers to administer a medical procedure to a minor, if the performance or administration of the medical procedure is to treat a minor's congenital defect, precocious puberty, disease, or physical injury. So a congenital defect, if we go back to the other page before that, a congenital defect means a physical or chemical abnormality present in a minor that is inconsistent with the normal development of a human being of the minor's sex, including abnormalities caused by a medically verifiable disorder of sex development, but, and I have underlined here, does not include gender dysphoria, gender identity disorder, gender incongruence, or any mental condition, disorder, disability, or abnormality. Up further on this page, about the third paragraph down, I also highlighted where it says on section 8, this legislature finds that minors lack the maturity to fully understand and appreciate the life-altering consequences of such procedures. So, you know, the human brain is not fully developed until after 25 years of age, and so as far as counseling for gender-affirming type stuff, you know, it may be better to just make sure that that stuff happens outside of school property.
Any other questions on that? All right, then, just restate.
Josh, before we go
Yes.
forward, so, I don't want stuff to get messed up. So, now I'm no expert by no means, but I just wanna kind of debate this a little bit before we mess something up. So my understanding is that normally you have a motion that's made, a motion on the floor. And once that becomes on the floor, once it is made and seconded, then someone has the ability to, once that main motion's on the floor, to propose an amendment to that main motion. Once that amendment is made, then it requires a second and then can be debated. Once that, now you're really, once that second is made and the amendment is debated, then the amendment is voted on. Once that amendment passes, then I believe there is a vote for the main motion as amended.
Yes.
So once we have actually we can't now amend a motion that has been passed by the board. That should have been done through the motion. So my recommendation is that I think we were on the right path. I think we need to halt just a second before we.
I know, I get what Coach was saying.
Well, no, I apologize.
No, I get what you're saying.
I got everybody confused.
The MOU was not part, I mean, the MOU was the motion, but there wasn't, we wasn't doing any, we were just looking to approve, that motion was to approve the MOU. Not, I know what you're saying about not going in and you can't
Well,
change it.
right now, we've got two motions on the floor. See, we've got, both companies and, you know, but I apologize, for if I was rude, but I thought that's the way it went, you know? And you know, I'm not bashful.
And, you know, in discussions with our board attorney, Robert's Rules of Order are something that we should follow to help guide this board. But it's not something that should interfere with the intentions of the board. So just because something gets messed up doesn't mean it's null and void. But we want to make sure that you as board members are voting on your
Yeah.
intentions and
Yeah.
understand
I follow
your
the rules,
intentions.
for sure.
So I understand that Doug and Paul want to approve the MOUs.
As amended.
And Dawn wants to amend said MOU. So, are we fine to
I'm happy.
to backtrack this up just a second?
We could do this right here,
Yeah,
amend something previously, that's just why you'd have to state this.
right,
Have we not approved the MOUs?
Yes,
yes, but,
Now you're wanting to make an amendment,
right,
and then we're gonna have to come back and approve them again
right,
from what we've already approved?
yeah. So we just need to get it right so that everybody understands what we're doing. I understand,
I understand too, but my goodness,
right,
it's been
It's
approved.
it's on me, I'm sorry.
It's been approved, we should accept it and carry on with the next item. No amendments included.
There's a way out of this rabbit hole, let's do it.
okay. Dawn, do you agree to, pull your motion right there for right now and then reword it? All right. So she has removed her amendment. Now, what she's gonna be saying is she's gonna move to amend the previously adopted MOU, which we just did, by what you got saying there, so.
So I move to amend the previously adopted MOU.
For Helen Ross
For
McNabb.
Helen Ross McNabb, on page 5, line L of the MOU document, to strike out the words "two students within JCS buildings" and replace with "gender affirming counseling and gender affirming activities of any kind to students on JCS property."
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so Dawn and Doug have both seconded that.
Thank you.
No problem, we'll get it figured out. Is there any more discussion on that? Okay, so Dawn has moved to amend the previously adopted MOU to strike out the words "to students within JCS buildings" and replace with "gender affirming counseling or gender affirming activities of any kind to students on JCS property." And this is just for the Helen Ross McNabb one for right this second. Okay, so all those in favor of that move to amend the previously adopted MOU, show by raising your right hand. All those opposed? All right, that then passes 4-2. I'll hand it back to you.
And Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I move to adopt the amended MOU as amended. The MOU as amended
Yes.
for Helen Ross.
Doug moves to approve the amended Helen Ross McNabb MOU. Is there a second?
Second.
Dawn, second.
Question.
Yeah.
Which company?
Helen
Helen Ross
McNabb. He said Helen Ross
McNabb.
McNabb. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor then of approving the amended MOU for Helen Ross McNabb, show by raising your right hand. All those opposed? All right, 4-2. So the amendment and the amended is approved. And for your,
So, I move to amend the previously adopted MOU for Allied Behavioral Health Services on page 5, line L of the MOU document to strike out the words "to students within JCS buildings" and replace with "gender affirming counseling or gender affirming activities of any kind to students on JCS property."
is there a second?
Second.
Doug has seconded. Is there any discussion on that? Okay, then, all those in favor of the move to amend the previously adopted MOU for Allied Behavioral Health, to amend page 5, line L, the MOU document, strike out the words "to students within JCS buildings" and replace with "gender affirming counseling or gender affirming activities of any kind to students on JCS property," show by raising your right hand. And all those opposed? Motion passes 4-2.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt the amended MOU for Allied Behavioral Health.
Doug moved to adopt the amended MOU for Allied. Is there a second? I'll second it. Any discussion on that? All right, and all those in favor of adopting the amended MOU for Allied Health, show by raising your right hand. All those opposed? All right, 5-1. Those then pass. I guess the MOU's done. Let me get back up here. Maybe something easier. All right, that brings us down to new business. Number 1, we got annual approval of credit exam procedures. 2, we got capital projects, which was, something Danny had mentioned. You wanna fill everybody in on that real quick?
So under this capital projects, Danny talked about the, baseball complex where we had a, district tournament, region tournament. We've had a lot of complaints there of the restroom facilities, not being adequate. And it's definitely not. It needs to be updated. That's what we're looking at. And also, the number of games played there during a week with, high school varsity JV, middle school varsity JV, anywhere from 4 to 6 games a week, just taking its toll on, home plate, various things, so much to upkeep, and requested turf being put in that area of home plate around the area, there as much as we could.
All right, thank you for that. And that was something Danny brought up at our work session. Then on number 3, remember we added student nutrition prices. So on number 1, is there a move on the annual approval of credit exam procedures? Paul has moved to approve credit exam procedures. Is there a second? I'll second it. Is there any discussion on the approval of credit exam procedures? All right, and all those in favor of approving the credit exam procedure, show by raising your right hand. All opposed? Motion passes 6-0. 2, capital projects. Is there a move on this? Yes, Doug.
Mr. Chairman, I move to transfer $170,000 from fund balance to the appropriate account for the restroom upgrade, turf renovation, and other projects at the high school baseball complex.
Is there a second? Second on this one?
I'll second that.
I got Paul with a second. Now, let me restate that. I move to transfer $170,000 from fund balance to the appropriate account for the restroom upgrade and turf renovation project at the high school baseball complexes. Doug, you want to start out again?
Yeah, I went up there the other day. I spoke to Danny. He wasn't gonna be able to be here. He asked me if I could, actually, move to, transfer the money. I guess practices and activities up there actually start around February. So if we're gonna get this out and get it in and get the work done, before the season starts, I think we needed to transfer the money and allow whoever to do whatever they need to do to get that done. So, and I did go up there, it is in need of it. I don't know what somebody was thinking when they built a 2-hole restroom up there for tournaments, but it's certainly not adequate. So, that's why I made the motion.
No, I'm kind of reiterating what he said.
Anybody?
I'm in favor of it 100%, but money's been thrown just like it grows on trees. It just seems to me like that we should have some bids of some sort before we start taking money in. Or is that the best thing to do, Tommy, to take the money, have it in advance, or get a bid before we take the money?
So, we have some cost estimates, so whenever Danny spoke about this at the work session, we looked at some possible restrooms to be able to move it from, individual facility for one person to use to a facility that would, handle 3 people, 3 males, 3 females, and be able to accommodate that. So we got some pricing.
Do you have any set pricing, or do you have any?
So yeah, we just have the estimates to be able to, so normally how we go about it is to get the estimate so that we have a general budget to work with. And then once we have that general budget, then we will move and pursue the project. So, it's hard to, the first thing, in order to get bids, people want to know, is this a funded project? So in order to get bids, in order for Jesse to bid out the project, it has to be funded. We can't bid out an unfunded project. That's just misleading companies.
Understand?
Yeah. So these are estimates that we feel that the project will fall within.
And also figure out, we don't have a meeting in July and August. So, I think to get this going, to get the bids in, to get the work slated, that's why Danny felt that we needed to do it this week, which I do.
So we're gonna put the $165,000, whatever the amount, and then if we need more, we'll come back, go again, same route.
Whenever we gain those estimates, we feel like it's gonna fall under that amount. So as we've done capital projects for the past 5 years, every now and then we hit one that goes over, but, most of the time, we're within budget or under.
Okay, then, all those in favor of the move to transfer $170,000 from fund balance to the appropriate account for the restroom upgrade and turf renovation project at the high school baseball complex, show by raising your right hand. None opposed, that'd be 6-4, 0 against, motion passes. Yes, sir.
I don't know if, this is something, I don't know if we need to make a motion, but I would like to put a project on our capital improvements list, and with funding deferred for whenever we decide to do it. I honestly believe that the schools should all have those digital message boards in front of them. I think it would help them advertise their school-specific activities. I think it would help to be another vehicle to help the community know what our schools are doing and where it's going to be going on and when it's going to be going on. I feel now that we have a communications coordinator, she can make suggestions and help with those things rather than having these things where you actually hand put letters up, you know, and sometimes those letters are there 3 months after the activity has already taken place. I've seen Piedmont, Rush Strong, White Pine, and the high school have them. Every time I go by Piedmont, there's a different activity being advertised. I think it's good. So I would like to put that on our capital improvements list to look at in the coming year to gradually add those digital message boards to every one of our schools.
Is that something that needs to be?
It'll be brought, some will be brought for the board.
Okay.
And,
Do you know how many schools don't have anything like that?
7.
All right then. Then that brings us then to number 3, which was one that was added, the Jefferson County School Student Nutrition a la carte price list. And the only changes, I believe you said it was staff and visitors, went up a quarter. From one's up to $4.50, one's $5.50, so that was the only changes on there. Is there a move to approve this student nutrition?
I so move.
Bill has moved, is there a second?
Second.
Paul has seconded. Any discussion on that? All right, then all those in favor of approving the student nutrition a la carte price list for 2026-27, show by raising your right hand. 6-4-0 against, that motion passes. Lunch is a lot more expensive than it was back in my day. We have no budget amendments, so then that brings us to school commissioner input. Is there anything on that? Yes, this fall under announcements then, we have the special called budget meeting, June 25th. Remember that, shouldn't take too long. Any other announcements? All right, then, is there a move to adjourn? I'm gonna let Dawn get in on that, and Paul, you want to second it?
I was quick on that.
All second. All those in favor of adjourn? 6-0.